Hello, welcome to the Full Frame with Mark and Ben. I'm Mark. This is Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
And this is the Full Frame with Mark and Ben. Today we're going to be talking about probably one of our favourite cameras.
Yeah.
The Rolleicord VA. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
What is it, the Rolleicord VA, Ben? Just kick us off.
Oh, well, it's a TLR film camera, 120 or medium format, as some people call it. Yeah. They made them for quite a while. Do you know, this model's like 50s, isn't it?
Mine was 1955.
What, based on the serial number?
Yeah.
I think mine's similar. Our serial numbers aren't that far apart, are they? Mine's 190, yours is 192. They're the first three digits.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1950s. I think some of the first Rolleicords were like 30s, maybe 40s, and a similar design.
So tell us the difference between the Rolleicord and the Rolleiflex. You put it really eloquently in a previous video.
Have I?
You did. Do you want me to remind you what you said?
Go on.
You said, imagine the Rolleiflex is an Audi, and the Rolleicord is a Skoda.
Yeah.
So they do essentially the same things, but the Rolleiflex is like a little bit better made, and there's a few little bits on it that are a bit smarter. So you said on the Rolleiflex, you've got like the winder that comes out, and you like wind on like that.
The thing that's nice about these though is it's not like modern day.
No difference between an Audi and a Skoda.
Yeah, because like I'm going to use guitars as a different reference or a different example. So like the cheaper models of guitars are made in like China or Asia, and usually they're lesser quality because of that. And then like your high-end ones are made in America or UK or Europe or wherever. Whereas because these were made in the 50s, there was no like mass production in China like there is today. So these were still made in Germany, probably by hand, definitely by hand, I would say. Probably in the same factories as the Rolleiflexes. So you are still getting the same build quality as a Rolleiflex. So it's not like today where you buy a cheaper version of something and it is a lot lower quality, like in every way. You are still getting like really good quality. It's just small features, really. So like I don't know if any of the Rolleicords have light meters. Some of the newer ones might. A lot of the Rolleiflexes have light meters. Like you mentioned, the winder's a bit nicer on them. And the lenses is probably the biggest thing. So the Rolleiflexes have a Zeiss lens, which is quite popular, well-known, very, very sharp lenses from Zeiss. Yeah. But these are Schneider and Kreuznach.
Yeah, I'm reading it on my iPad. Schneider and Kreuznach.
Yeah, Zenar 75. That's it, yeah. It's a 3.5 aperture, which, I mean, 3.5 for its day was very good.
Yeah. And shooting these, they are still ridiculously sharp.
Crazy sharp. Yeah, I mean, these are very, very sharp. So what you'll get with a Rolleiflex is there are versions with even wider apertures. 2.8 is the widest they go. But what you'll find with the Rolleiflex is they'll be sharper wide open. Whereas these, like stop down to f8, are so sharp, like amazingly sharp. Yeah. And I'm sure there's probably things like coatings and stuff that these ones don't have. Yeah. You do get a lot of like flare from these lenses, like a haze, which I actually love. Like I love that look.
Certain like there's like fungus has grown in some of them. Like, I think that's probably right with all.
Yeah. So there's fungus, which can create haze, but then there's also just uncoated lenses, which kind of give a haze to the photos. We've actually been pretty like lucky with ours. Like they're completely clean. But that is definitely something that can happen. And because it's not an interchangeable lens camera, it's a bit of a nightmare if you've got a load of fungus in your lens. But I mean, I'm sure they are, cleanable. But
and the reason we got these was because we saw Kai Wong's video about the guy who collected loads of Rolleiflex and Rolleicord cameras.
Yeah, I should have looked at what his name was. I think it's Dave.
I put it in a link.
I think it's Dave Lewis.
He was selling them at the time. This was a few years ago now.
Yeah.
But like, I remember like seeing these cameras before I got into film photography and thought, like, there's no way they still work. Like people just get them just to put them on their shelves. Yeah. But it's so good to like when you walk around with these, people stop and like they talk to you about it. Like I was away recently. And I was taking photos with this, and 3 or 4 people a day would come up to me and be like, talk about my camera and stuff.
Yeah, that video definitely was what got me interested in them. Like, I'd always seen cameras that look like this, like TLRs, but I'd never really understood how they worked. I never really looked into it. And I obviously never knew what like the brand was or anything. And like that video definitely got me into it and got me looking at, what models are out there. And it actually turns out, this is something we'll cover a bit further, but it turns out it's actually a very good introduction into 120, which it was for both of us. Yeah. And also, it was both of us our first fully manual camera.
Yeah, so it really helps you work out like how it all works.
Yeah,
and I love shooting it. Honestly, it's amazing. It's amazing to shoot.
It's the learning curve though as well, isn't it? Like it probably took you. I got the feeling you didn't like it that much when you first got it because it was difficult. Yeah.
But the more I've used it, the more.
That's what I said to you. I was like, just keep using it. Just force yourself to use it. Yeah.
And the more I've used it loads in the last few months, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I could really see myself never shooting 35 again.
You've said this a lot, especially now you've got the Pentax 6.7.
Yeah. That's just a more like easier camera to shoot.
Why is it that you don't think you've said to me you might sell all your 35mm film? Why is it?
Not film, just the cameras. But I guess I would sell the film because I wouldn't have any cameras.
Why would you only shoot 120 then?
It's just the sharpness. It's so much sharper. I don't know why I want that because I don't print that much. I don't know, there's something about like having a really nice sharp photo that I like.
And having less photos.
The less photos is definitely a big thing. But I mean, the biggest downside to 120 is most of the cameras are quite big, and I do like a small camera. Put like an easy to carry camera. I think what would stop me from giving up 35mm is the fact that 120 cameras are massive. Yeah. So,
if you're going on holiday, like I'd say you want a few options. Yeah. Like on holiday, I even took like the APS on holiday, and I thought that was a pretty good holiday camera.
Yeah.
So nice. Should we talk about shutter?
Yeah, sure. So it's a leaf shutter, which essentially, rather than a curtain shutter, which kind of opens up like that, this is kind of like. It kind of looks like the aperture of a lens. It kind of opens up in a circle, and that just makes for a very smooth.
And the engineering movement of that as well is incredible. Oh yeah.
I mean, like, I've seen pictures of the fronts of these taken off, and like all the stuff behind them is like crazy.
I have to find that.
But so that makes for a very smooth movement that doesn't really create much camera shake. And obviously, being a TLR. You are looking down, and the mirror here is allowing you to look through this lens, but that mirror doesn't need to move like in an SLR, so it is just the shutter in there that moves. So very quiet and a very steady camera, I think.
In terms of film format, we said it uses 120 film, and it produces 6x6 negatives, and there's 12 photos per roll. On your Pentax, how many do you get?
10.
10.
And then on a Fuji 6x9, you'd get 8. So this is 6x6, Pentax 6x7, Fuji. I can't remember the model name of the Fuji. It's a really long name. That's 6x9.
Why do you love square format? It's written on the iPad. I've got to ask you it.
Oh yeah. I think it just takes away another thing to think about. Really, like obviously you're always thinking about the three, the exposure triangle things, but something I think some people don't think about is the orientation of the photo. Yeah. And I think about that a lot, like what way around to take a photo. And when you're shooting the Rolleis light, obviously that just goes away. And it's just another thing, I don't know, you can really focus on the composition, I find, because you're not thinking about which way around.
It's so weird, There's a guy, I was walking around in the Eden project, in my Cornwall video, and a guy stopped me and he said, have you ever taken it like upside down like that?
Yeah,
you can get like more height. Have you done that? I've never done it.
Yeah.
Is it? What's the benefits of that?
You can get higher. Yeah.
And that's the only thing.
But you got to remember, because you're always looking down. Yeah. For things like portraits, it's not that flattering. Like shooting lower, you have to get up on something. Like you can like shoot it like that. To get like a top down, but like you could imagine if you were on like a balcony or something and you wanted to like shoot downwards, right? You've got to tilt. You've got to point your lens down, and then you've got to look down the front. Whereas you can go like that.
No, I'm going to do that now.
So
like,
I've never done it. Looking at the cameras basically through there. So yeah, I've done it like once or twice. It's not something you do all the time, but I think it's great for portraits, square format. Yeah. Although
I shot my portraits on that.
I wouldn't. I would not say the Rollei is a good portrait camera. The lenses are good for it, but I just think TLRs, like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right doing portraits with a TLR. Like, I think it's the low down thing. It's like, do you know what I mean?
I did all my portraits on that, and it was good.
It depends how wide you are, though. Like, if you're a few steps away from them, fine. But if you want a face portrait, I've done a few, and you're like this, you know. So you're like looking down at it, and that's not a good shot. So I just think things like Hasselblads are better for portraits.
Okay.
Even though they're top down, but you know, an eye level viewfinder on a Hasselblad is like the best.
Yeah. Build quality, I think, is obviously fantastic because these are like 70 years old.
Yeah, and I mean,
and like it's still going. It's got a few like.
It seems to be mostly metal, and then there's some
few signs of wear and tear on mine.
There's some sort of like composite that they use here. It doesn't look like metal, but it's just things like this, like that mechanism is just beautiful. And this was my favourite thing that I used to show everyone on this camera, and maybe I can show it up there. When you push this in, it flips up your little magnifier, and then you can also push this all the way down. It clips into place, and then you can use this hole here as a viewfinder.
I've never done that.
Yeah. So you'd be like that.
Yeah.
It's obviously not a real viewfinder.
But
it's just a square. But yeah, like at a distance, you know, it's quite good. I mean, portraits like this might work to some extent. Yeah. But you wouldn't want to be too close because of the parallax effect, which we'll talk about. And then my next favourite thing, this little button here, I'll show for the top-down camera. Flick that. Oh, hang on, get that out of the way. Flick that, and your little thing goes back.
What's that?
You pull it down, yeah. So if you push that all the way, and then so nice.
Never done that.
So nice.
I've never done that. All right, so there are a few things that have happened on mine that have been a little bit annoying and fallen apart a little bit. It was the knob here, which holds the film in.
And mine have also come loose. Yeah. So I caught them early and tightened them up.
So I lost the knob one night. Yeah, and luckily it was in my bag. But I
lost your knob?
Lost my knob. My knob fell off.
Oh, shit.
But luckily I got some screws and I screwed it back in. That's a clip for YouTube Shorts.
I've also had the rewind.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. And I actually glued it. Oh, no, sorry. All you have to do is take off the like leatherette bit.
Yeah.
There's a flathead screwdriver, and then I glued the leatherette bit back on, and it's like really tight now. But like, if yours ever comes loose, like this way, yours is all right. I've had mine come loose from like pulling it in and out of a bag, and it kind of like that's always getting stuck on things.
But overall, it's been pretty good. Like the only problem I've had is my knob fell off.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to think.
It was fine. Like, I fixed it quite easily.
Yeah, I've had loose knobs.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. But and I've had that fall off. I don't know if you'd call that one a knob.
Your big knob has fallen off, and your little knob.
Big knob has fallen off.
I call that a knob or a winder.
Yeah, it's the winder, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. I've not had any other issues with that actually.
Keep it for a professional. Yeah. Image quality is. Oh, yeah, we said this. Fantastic.
Yeah, so nice. And even though the lens is 3.5. Aperture, you still get really nice bokeh with it. That's another thing with 120 or medium format. The bokeh is much better.
Yeah. Even
if you have a slightly lower or sort of slightly more closed aperture, smaller aperture, it just looks better. Like this looks as good as a 1.8 on 35mm, I'd say.
And another thing, like when I've been shooting it, that's been really interesting is like when we go out to like cities or like and on the do street photography. Yeah, this is a lot more inconspicuous because you're not like looking through at someone. You're looking down, so they don't think you don't really like look suspicious looking at them. You're just looking at a box.
Yeah, and even people, especially people my age, but even people like your age, which is way older than me. No, I'm joking. But even I would say even up to like 40s aren't going to know what that is.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
It's always old, like people in their 50s come up to me and or older.
Yeah.
Like, I used to shoot one of them. Or,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like,
yeah. But like,
no one our age,
if you've never,
no one my age or even your age has come up to me and said anything.
Yeah, but no, I would actually say older than.
How much difference in age are we?
How old are you?
No, 8 years difference.
What are you, 36?
35.
35. What are you, 36 this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 38. Sorry, I'm 28 this year. 38 this year. Sorry, yeah, but I actually think even older than us, like 40s, 45s, then if they've never had an interest in photography, they would never know what they are either. So yeah, like it can be very inconspicuous. And it's quiet, like I said, like for street photography, it doesn't even make a noise, like so you can't even tell when a shot's actually been taken.
Yeah, it's like you don't really hear it unless you're next to it and you can hear it. All you hear is like...
And you can feel it when your finger's on the shutter, but that's it really.
Yeah.
So...
Affordability. How much was yours when you bought it? Mine was about $250, I think.
Yeah, mine I think was $275.
Yeah.
We should really have a quick look actually at.
I bought mine nearly 2 years ago now, though.
Yeah, well, mine will be over, I guess, or about 2 years. Yeah, 140 quid for broken.
Yeah.
So that's going to be
about 200 quid.
That's going to be your like bottom dollar, and 140 quid for a broken one. And then it's your own risk to get it fixed. So it looks like still like 200 quid. That's obviously a very nice one, 320. Yeah, that's got a close-up lens with it, I think.
Yeah.
No, that's just a lens cap.
Okay.
But I remember you saying you had seen one in a shop for like 175 or something.
195, I think.
195. Oh, this one here's one.
But it did look a lot cheaper than ours.
Really?
It was,
maybe a different model then.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Well, okay, so it looks like specifically this model, is going to be minimum 190.
Yeah.
For a working one. So we've actually
not that bad.
No, that's good.
I didn't expect. How much are the Pentax?
They're like 500-600 with no lens. That's the other thing. It is like an all-in-one thing. You don't have to fuck around with it. It's a bloody
little magic box. It's amazing.
Yeah. Man, they're selling the manuals for a tenner.
I could sell them,
yeah. So mine has... This is something to look for when you're buying one, is to get...
I'll move mine out of the way so that camera can see it.
Yeah, let me try and unscrew it. There we go. Is to get it with one of these little things. So this is actually the shutter button. But what it allows you to do is... Do that.
That's like the... Yeah. Okay.
So when it goes in the same place as your whatever you call the release cable. Shutter release cable. So
let me just we're talking about.
This lever here cocks the shutter, makes a little noise, and then with this little, let me just see what it's actually called. It's called a soft shutter release button. This you can just press that.
And it goes.
Like a button, and it goes, and that's a 1 second exposure.
How much are they?
50 quid.
Flipping out for a little button.
There you go, 50.
But you could just get the cable, and they're like 7 quid.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to have
a cable. But that looks smart, doesn't it?
But yeah, anyway.
So I would do it.
This
I would
is
just
what,
press that the other way.
Yeah, so the other way to do it is like this.
That's what I would do, yeah.
Yeah, because yours hasn't got the button. But that's something to look for, like if it's
got there in it.
Well, if you're thinking of buying one and they're asking 300 quid for it, if it ain't got that, don't get it because that's not worth it. Do you know what I mean? But like that might be a reason why one is cheaper than the other. Like if there's one for 195, it probably ain't gonna have that. And you don't want to buy one separate because they're 50 quid. I'll just show the rest of the
focusing.
I can show focusing. This is your focus knob thing here. And it literally just moves the lenses in and out of the case like that. It's very basic.
Yeah.
You are literally moving the whole lens away from the film to focus. And obviously as we showed, it's got like a little
that is very helpful having that magnifier.
It does really come in handy. I mean, I literally just put my eye right up into it to focus on things. The focusing distance is quite far. Can't really focus very close, which is why you might want to get one of these. This is a Rolleicord Closeup Lens, and there's 3 variations of these, and they give you closer distances. I don't know which one this is. I think it might be a 1. Oh yeah, Rolleicord 1.
It's a 1er.
It's a 1er. So I think this might actually be the least close one, and it's pretty good. But actually, should we just do a demonstration of how far how close you can focus now? So I don't even know if I'm in the shot of the cameras, but
you'll be in that one, I think.
That's in focus there. So what's that? A bit under
half
a metre.
Yeah.
Maybe
an arm's length.
2/3 of a metre.
Yeah.
So with the close-up lens, you put this on here, put this one on the bottom, and obviously this, you have to have the same thing going with both lenses because you need to be able to see it. What this part of the lens does is actually tilts the frame downwards, because when you're shooting close up with a TLR, you get this parallax effect where obviously you're looking through this lens, but that's going to take the picture. So if you're really close, I'm going to end up like getting your forehead and not your eye or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what this piece does is actually tilt the image down. And if you look at it, it has got like a slight angle to it. So anyway, so these lenses do the closer up in.
Yeah.
And then this one just accounts for that parallax effect.
It's bloody clever, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so like smart.
Yeah. But that ultimately is why the focus distance is quite long on a Rollie, because if you go too close, you're not, what you see through the top is not going to be accurate. So anyway, right. So the closest I can go with the close-up lens, I think we're already in focus there. So it's about there. So we've probably halved it. Yeah. And that's I don't think this is the closest one you can get. You can get closer than this.
How much are these?
I think they're like 40, 50, 60 quid. Like these sort of things like never really stay. They never really have a stable like price, and these go on Rolleiflexes as well. So like they probably demand a higher price because people want them for the Rolleiflexes. Yeah, there's one here for 40, another one for 30, 40 with the little case, 50. So like varying conditions. Some have got the original boxes, which will be like 80 years old or something. And then there's I think there's 3 versions, the 1, 2, and the 3. So yeah, and then the Rolleicords and Rolleiflexes have this great bayonet mount that everything fits on, which has gone really fucking stiff. There we go. It kind of just has these little little bits in them, and it all just clips in. It's all
like the design of it is incredible.
Yeah, it is like typical German design from that era, like amazing quality. And these are all like metal and
built to last, like the whole thing.
Yeah. And then sorry, so with these lens mounts, you can get coloured filters as well, like a black, like a
warming filter.
Yeah, or like a red filter for black and white and stuff like that.
Yeah. What would you choose? Why did you buy it?
I think I wanted to shoot 120.
Yeah.
And I think I just wanted something that would like force me to shoot differently,
Yeah.
I think it's funny, like when we started shooting 35mm, we were both like, 36 shots. Oh my God, like feels like you're really, we were like, it's really reining us in. And now it's like 36 shots. Jesus, it's going to take me ages to get through this.
I have some 36 rolls in my camera for like a few months.
Yeah.
I had one, I've just put one in the drawer, and it was October to December. I had it in my thing.
Wow.
So I was looking at them, I was like, that was like October, November.
If I put a roll in one of my point and shoots, it sits in there for months.
Yeah.
But so I think I'd kind of started to like the having less shots.
Yeah.
And so this was kind of the next natural thing to go to. Obviously 12 exposures. And then, yeah, you get the bonus of the higher quality and I think just a more pleasurable experience, you know, to shoot. Even though it's more hands-on, you need to meter.
I love that.
It's actually not that hard. Yeah. And like, you know, when we've gone out, like on a photo walk, when the light's consistent, you don't need to meter over and over and over again. Like if you're shooting street, as long as you don't walk down an alleyway, like you can meter once and you can. And the light,
we're doing a video of this coming up, but like the light here at the moment is just like cloudy all the time.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's the same. Yeah, for me it was similar. I wanted to learn like how to shoot like manually properly,
how settings work and things,
and it's really helped with that. And like as we said earlier, I was frustrated with that at the start, but the more you do it, and the more often you do it, it just becomes like
and it obviously
the joy of it.
It obviously translates into every single camera. So you know, even digital.
You properly understand it.
Exactly, you understand what the camera is doing now. You know, and it's a great way to learn, I think. And like neither of us have had like blank rolls, you know, we've never fucked it up that bad, so it isn't that hard. Do you know what I mean?
Also the Kai Wong video as well, I mentioned that.
That definitely, well, that got me to look into them, and I think I was in a position that I think a lot of people might be in, is they don't really know how to get into 120, because I've said this to you before, the price range for cameras in 120 is ridiculous. It's like either 20 quid for a Holga, and they're crap and they'll make you never want to shoot 120 again, or something like this, 250, 200 quid. And I think that's quite a big jump, like, because you can get really good point and shoots for like 30 quid. So the you know, the step into 35mm is really accessible. And I think 120 is less accessible.
So this is like the first decent stepping stones. You're looking at about £200 to get into 120.
I'm sure someone will say in the comments like a cheaper alternative, but
let us know.
I can't really think of any. Like
I've got a Diana over there. Like I'll go get it. We've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
But like I've shot it a few times. I actually realised I've got a Rolleicord Gold in this.
Really?
Yeah. Don't know how long it's been there. But yeah, it's just like rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Essentially, it's just it's not really a comparison. Like we put that next to your Pentax before, and it's just like
it is lomography.
Yeah, I've got that about 10 years ago though. But
yeah. So it's I can't think of any other, like, any cheaper alternatives to getting into 120, because this is like one of the cheapest options, because the next option is Rolleiflex, which are 500 plus, 600 plus. Pentax 6.7s, which obviously we know 500-600. Hasselblad's thousands. Yeah. The Fuji 6x9s. I have just thought of some cheaper alternatives, and I've also just seen some on eBay. So there's a lot of Japanese kind of like copies of the Rolleis. Yeah. Yashika's. Some of them are still expensive. There's like Mamiyas and stuff like that. And then there are some like way cheaper ones, which I mean, I've never even like seen Lubitel. I've never even seen some of these, and like I mean, they might be okay. Like they look very much like a Rolleis on the inside, don't they? So yeah, that might be like a good option actually. So like I think it is quite hard to get into 120, like money wise. I just wanted to show like some operations of the camera. So your shutter speed and aperture is down there. You kind of look at it from the top down while you're shooting, and that's adjusted by these two levers here, and they actually move. This changes from model to model for Rolleicord. So like I think the VA2 has like the shutter speed on that side, and like the levers are different and stuff. But so to adjust these separately, you actually have to push in one of them. Otherwise they move together. So like that. And actually that's actually quite a cool feature, because it means if you take a light reading, right? say the light meter says to do 1/15 of a second at 3.5, right? You say you don't want to do 3.5, you want it to be sharper, so you want to go to f8. You can just move this lever and it changes both settings for you to what it should be.
Yeah.
So now it's half a second at f8, or it's kind of in between f11 and f8. So it kind of like, because they're linked, do you know what I'm saying? You don't have to move them separately.
It's doing what it needs to do
to get the right exposure. Yeah. So that's quite cool, because it means like if you just want to set the light meter in your phone to 3.5, then you can just move it to whatever aperture is you want. Or it works the other way around as well. Like if you just want, if you want the shutter speed to be different, or say you meter at f22 and you want a faster shutter speed, you move it down and it will open the aperture up and do a faster shutter speed. So it's a cool little feature, but it is kind of annoying when you're like, when you're trying to change the settings independently, you kind of you have to put your fingers on both of them, otherwise they start moving together and you're changing both of us. It's a bit fiddly, but
I think just pay attention to what the reading says and make sure it's right.
Exactly. That's something that I think is a lot better on the Rolleiflexes. They've got like little wheels and they're much nicer to use.
Would you ever buy a Rolleiflex?
I don't know. I've thought about it. When you've already got a Rolleicord, I don't think it's like justifiable, like the jump up in price. Even though I could sell this for 200 and then maybe pay like 500 for a Rolleiflex, and but yeah, you're getting a better lens and maybe nicer features, but I just think you're also like, to get a really nice one, you'd probably need to spend even more than that. And I think we've both got really nice Rolleicords and we've only had to spend $250-ish. Yeah. Whereas like I said, Rolleiflexes, you could probably get one 500-600, but a really nice one's going to be nearer $1,000. So it's like a really nice Rolleicord is between 200 and 250, and they don't get that much more than that. So anyway, sorry, back to the operations. So these 3 settings on the side, it says M, X, and V. These settings are for flash, and then pushing it down, the shutter needs to be cocked for that to work. Yeah. That just does your timer, which is amazing that it has a timer. I don't know, do you want to count it?
We did that on the FE.
Yeah, should we do that?
I think it's about 10 seconds again.
That seems to be the norm, doesn't it? 10 seconds.
This is great video stuff, this.
People will want to know this.
Yeah. 8.
Wow, interesting.
Well, it's 8.98, but yeah, between 8 and 9
it was probably like 8.5, because I was a little bit late. So, interesting. There you go. I really thought it was going to be 10.
Yeah.
Anyway, this lever here basically allows you to cock the shutter without rolling the film on. So most of the time you will want that red. That's why it has like a red bit. You want that red bit covered, because you could take a photo, forget to leave it 10 minutes, forget to roll on, and then take a photo of your photo. And then it also, on a positive side, it allows you to do multiple exposures if you want. Yeah. Which is a cool feature, like some 35mm cameras.
There's so much features you're showing me that I didn't know about. Timer and the double exposure stuff, didn't know.
Yeah. And then on the side here, you've got like your ISO setting, which says ASA, because obviously it was called ASA back then. It only goes up to 800, which is cool. But yeah, that's just like for you. That doesn't do anything. Yeah, that doesn't do anything to the camera. That's just for you to know what film you've got in it, which is, it can be handy if you've had a film in it for a while. But when you've only got 12 photos, you kind of
go for it.
Yeah.
Right, I'm loading Lomo 400 because this is what I'm going to be shooting at the weekend. So you pop it in there. This is a really great way of doing it. There you go. She's in. Line her up to the little slit.
Fuck.
And then just put it so it all lines up there.
You're lining up the red. It's kind of hard to see.
Dot.
There's a red dot either side.
To the start line.
Line that up to the line.
close her up, lock her in, and then wind it on to the number one, till the number one comes around here. Really easy to do, really.
Yeah, it's not that bad, and it's not like on the Rolleiflexes. You have to tuck the paper underneath a. Do you remember that?
It's a bit of a roll, but yeah.
In that guy's Rolleiflex video, you have to tuck the paper under.
Oh right, I haven't watched it for ages.
A metal.
The roll is in. Most importantly, all these automats have a film thickness sensor, which is this roll here. It needs to go underneath that. The very first roll I ever shot on a Rolleiflex, I didn't do that, and I wound the entire roll into the camera.
We said about the sharpness of 120, and essentially the reason for that is the negative size. So this is 120 film, and you can see there's like.
Oh, it made a lovely noise, that, didn't it? Try and get this out. So yeah, it's 120 compared to 35.
Yeah. So I don't know if they'll be able to see the actual shots that are on there, but it's, I mean, way smaller. That is really what allows you to get that extra sharpness,
nice.
Along with a good lens. Yeah, and that's your square. That's your square 6x6 shot.
So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you think we've missed anything, we love hearing your comments about all the stuff we've missed.
Oh, do we need to add something really wrong in there so that we to get engagement?
Well, maybe people will say we're pronouncing it wrong. People might say it's called
Rolleicord.
No, Rolleicord. I've heard people go, "Oh, nice Rollie."
Rollie.
Oh, a lovely
It's
Rollie.
a Rolleicord.
Oh, a lovely Rollie. So if we pronounce it wrong,
Rollie.
let us know in the comments. We love hearing all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we love hearing how we've done something wrong.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do comment if you're able, of course. And we'll see you next time for more sexy and exciting adventures on film. Good luck.
Thanks.